This is the biggest fight of my career, no doubt about it. The hype, the history, the interest, it's massive. Listen, no fight is easy. Every fight is a challenge. But with the weight cut and the advantages I believe I have physically and, experience-wise, I don't feel like I need to be 100%. And I can't be 100% anyway because of the weight cut I have to do. 60% is more than enough to take care of Ben.
One hell of a fight. That's how I see it playing out. It's just one hell of a fight. I don't really care what he thinks or what he says. I mean, that's entirely down to him. However he wants to approach the fight or however he wants to feel or think about it is down to him. I have a completely different approach.
Brilliant. I mean, I still can't believe we're here. I still can't believe this fight's happening. It is two great young fighters who have legends as fathers, who gave British boxing the greatest rivalry we've ever seen. Now rekindled October 8th. Probably the time it comes around, the biggest fight I've ever been involved with in this country, and just an absolute monster.
It's not massive, it's using the word iconic, but it's got something totally different about any of the big fights we've ever been involved in, heavyweight unification fights or, just big grudge matches. This is a totally different feel to it.
It is fight week next week, but we're filming today for Chris Eubank Jr versus Conor Benn, as always, joined by our esteemed panel of guests, Barry Jones, former WBO super featherweight champion of the world, and Andy Clark, professional commentator, general all-around good guy. What do you make of the whole "I will only be at 60%, but that's all I need"?
Yeah, I don't expect that he thinks he'll be at 60%. I don't think he would, or the people around him would have taken it if they thought that would be the case. I just don't believe that. He is very, very good at winding people up without even apparently trying, and that is a real skill because he is expending no effort and he's reducing his opponent at times to just a quivering, raging mess, expending all sorts of emotional energy. You can see it evaporating off them.
You can imagine Chris going, on his way there, being taken by hovercraft or wherever he travels, and he's going, and he goes, "What's wrong? What's the matter, Chris?" "Oh, I'm going to say to Conor, I need 60% to beat you. It'll drive him mad."
How does the fight itself play out? What can you see happening in the ring on the night?
I think what will happen is that Conor Benn will go for Eubank early and Eubank will revert to type. And when I say revert to type, he will stand his ground and he will fight. And it will be good to watch. It won't last all that long and Eubank will win.
I sort of agree. I think that Ben will commit. 100% he will commit. Though I'd love if he didn't now. Been really cagey and trying but I think he'll commit 100%. I still think that Chris doesn't know what he wants to be.
I think Eubank boxes. I don't think he does revert to type. I don't think they go like that. I think Ben comes on the front foot. I don't think he's gung-ho. And I think Eubank gets on the jab. He peppers him with a jab, draws the sting early, and I think he tries to take him into the second half of the fight.
I could definitely see that happening.
The one asterisk I have is Eubank-Benn, packed O2 Arena, pay-per-view.
That's why I think it'll go.
All of the aggro and the thing. So that's the kind of the other factor to it for me. Could you ever imagine that you'd end up here where we are?
No, when I left Australia, most definitely not. I mean, but then obviously I did because, I noticed I made a Twitter account when I lived in Spain still, so I didn't even move to Australia. I put up, I don't know why I put it out, it's my only post on that account and it's, "I will be the next world champion."
I want you to tell everybody watching how the fight ends. Chris Eubank Jr versus Conor Benn, October the 8th.
The fight ends the way I want it to end. I believe I get the knockout early doors.
A lot of talk, as always, about pay-per-view buys. How many are you expecting for Eubank Jr?
I think it's massive. I think this can do anywhere between 600 and 1 million buys. I think on Sky it does 1 million buys. Honestly, the numbers that we've seen, even across the head-to-heads, the documentaries, just on Matchroom Boxing YouTube, bigger than any fight we've ever seen, certainly domestically in the UK. And I think next Saturday, there won't be many people in the country that won't know this fight is taking place.
Eubank Jr versus Ben. You already know what time it is. We're on the red carpet. We're talking to all the famous people, all the celebs, get the boxers. You get me, bruv? We might see a gal here, bruv. You get me? Might secure a thing. You get me? That's what we're doing, bruv. Don't know. Keep locked in. We're going to be covering the whole fight week. Big man thing. Pretty face and the maddest back, but she won't turn me fool. Man was broke when I turned around and now I'm paid in full. Gucci, Louis, Prada, Fendi, drip, I'm paid in full. Come through ends with the baddest teeth. There's bare gal here right now, bruv. If you see some of the gal that's coming here, bruv, you'll lose your mind. Big man ting. I'm with the legend right now, Eddie Hearn, bruv. You get me? He owes me money though.
Big man ting.
See that right there, bruv? I'm telling you, I gotta ask you the first thing I'm saying. You see, last time I had the vest on, yeah?
Yeah, but listen, last time I didn't have a clue who you were.
Bruv,
I've done the interview with you.
you're taking a piss
Who's this
now.
geezer?
Come on, bruv.
And everyone's going, are you joking? He's massive. And now you're so massive, I like it.
Big man thing, yeah? You're trying to make money off me, Eddie. I
That's
could
all
feel
I'm
it.
interested
Come on, bruv, let's do this. Now, I gotta ask you this, though. Last time you saw me in the vest, you
Yeah.
get me? I was looking sexy. Had the nipples out and that, you get me?
This is much
So I got
better.
money now. How's the drip looking?
It's much better. Much better.
Give me a rating out of 10, though.
I think you're a solid 8.
Big man ting. I'm looking beautiful right now. So I gotta get straight into it, yeah? Straight into the thing, yeah?
yeah.
You know, last time I gotta apologise. I didn't know your mum's name was Susan.
Couldn't believe it.
That was just a freestyle.
mad, wasn't it?
That's a
I
freestyle.
thought you'd done your research.
No,
I was
no,
about
my-
to nut you. Seriously, I heard it. I was like, is he taking fists?
Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie, yeah? And I saw some sparring footage of you. Now I'm a bit afraid now. I'm not gonna lie. You're serious.
I'm soft as shit. Don't worry about it.
So Chris said something about abstaining in fights. Is that a myth in boxing or is that a true thing? Because I'll be honest, I'm trying to be out here street fighting and shit. Big man thing, legends right now, legends in the game, legends. So I need to know this for myself, if just in case I ever get in the ring. Is that something that actually, is that a myth or is that a real thing?
Bro, I don't know, man. But I've been married for a long time, bro, so abstain is just natural to me, you know what I'm saying?
Big man thing.
I've got 4 kids and Christmas and birthdays, bro. Christmas and birthdays, so abstain ain't nothing new to me.
You guys don't even know how good this man smells right now. What fragrance is that?
That is. Do I look like a savage? Do I look like a savage?
I like that, I like that.
Yeah.
We're not going to give it no promotion though.
No, it's my fight week scent.
Smells like money.
We get savage this week. No, that's after. That's the first next week. So next week it'll be money, but this week it's savage. It's the savage fragrance Sauvage.
Savage, you see that? Big man thing.
Johnny Depp.
Shout out to Johnny Depp right now. Shout out to Johnny Depp. Big man thing, that's the end of day 1 of fight week, bruv. You get me? It's been a mad thing covering the red carpet, bruv. We got a whole load of things for you coming this week, bruv. I just pulled up in the Balenciaga Megatron Optimus Prime thing. You get me? It's a mad thing. I don't know why this brother's trying to get close to my whip in the Skoda, bruv, but you get me, bruv. Thing costs more than your life, bruv. You get me? Big man thing just got in Tottenham Court Road. Day 2 is the media workout right now, so let's see what's happening, bruv. A lot of exciting things today. You get me? Come on. Right now arriving, get me? Security looking after us, bruv. Don't know, my G. Get me? You'll take your gal, bruv. Big man thing, you see him? Don't know. Bruv. Out here right now. Look how beautiful it is. Look at the scenery. Look at that. Yo, I've just stepped out of the workout right now, man. And the timeline's blowing up. Seen a little news article thing saying Conor Benn has failed a drugs test ahead of this fight with Chris Eubank. Bruv. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Bruv, the vibes is weird right now, man. I'm telling you, you could cut the tension with your gal's face right now. That's how mad it is, yeah? So we just heard that Conor Benn's gonna come out and give a little statement. We'll see what's happening, man. But yeah, bruv. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
With regards to the B sample, he's not tested. He's not had any doping violations at the minute because the B sample hasn't been tested. Is that correct? Why is the B sample not been tested yet?
Because just a timing issue. You know,
When was the test?
we're talking about a couple of weeks ago. So
How long does it take for a B sample to be put through?
depends on, once you hear the reasons why that opening was required by a scientist, you will see why. I can't say too much on it at the moment, but ultimately that sample will be tested by a specialist, and all those conversations have been taking place. So the bigger issue here, Rob, is, in all honesty, is the technicality of VADA versus UKAD. British Boxing Board of Control do not acknowledge VADA testing. We had a very similar situation with Billy Joe Saunders, where he had an adverse finding on his VADA test. Massachusetts banned him. The British Boxing Board of Control said his UKAD test was clear. We do not acknowledge VADA. So they need to make a decision what they want to do. If they don't suspend him, which they haven't and can't, he is clear to fight.
And any time when drugs come into cast a shadow over boxing, rightly or wrongly, it's a damaging day for boxing, and in this case particularly for British boxing. Whatever the truth and the reality of the situation, and Conor has come here to training today to protest his innocence. We don't know the full basis of it just yet, but something that causes the British Board of Boxing Control to withdraw their sanction for the fight suggests they think it's serious.
With failed drug tests happening, as much as I want to see this fight weekend, let's be honest, if this fight, I don't know if I should say this right, if this fight was happening at York Hall or the Olympia for an area title, it wouldn't be going ahead.
Live at the open workout, bruv. We don't know what's going on. 1 minute the fight's on, 1 minute the fight's off. We don't know, bruv. The British Board of Mandem or whatever they are, bruv, they're saying it's off. Yeah. Conor Benn just came out and gave a statement saying it's still potentially on, so there's still hope, bruv.
I'm with, of course, the main event himself, Castillo.
Big man thing.
Crazy last 24 hours or so.
Definitely a crazy 24 hours. Right now, Rob's got the phone up, bruv. We're waiting for the breaking news right now. Right now, it's not looking good, bruv. You get me?
Conor Benn is moving away with his sunglasses. I'm not sure whether or not he's getting into his car, which is a very interesting development here from the press conference. Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn. I saw Tony Sims, of course, the trainer.
Might be going back to his yard, bruv. I'm not going to lie. We don't know. But
yeah, so he's out. He's driving around now in his Porsche KO Benn number plate. We're also seeing, this is Conor Benn's sister behind us moving away and also going with her luggage. So this could be a developing story here whereby there's bags that are leaving the press conference. Conor Benn has just left the press conference here live. That's a big story, a big development potentially here.
Speaking of the cod liver oils, bruv, like literally, can you tell us more about that? So I don't know what that is, bruv. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was for gal to get boobs or something, bruv. Like, what is it?
So it's Clomifene, which is Clomid is the kind of over the counter name for it. It was quite popular. I say popular. It was rife in the NFL a couple of years ago. There was a lot of NFL players who tested positive for that. As you've sort of correctly alluded to there, it's a women's fertility drug. It helps you conceive a child. The NFL players basically argued that it was for them to help conceive a child with their wife. That study was basically found to be inaccurate, and that's why they were banned. There is no legal reason for it to be in the system, certainly of an elite athlete under VADA testing or UKAD testing, but a man in general. I do have an official statement here that the fight is off. The fight is off, so I'm going to read it verbatim from Wasserman and Matchroom Boxing. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight update. After discussions with various parties, we have taken the decision to formally postpone the bout between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. It is undeniable that the British Boxing Board of Control's decision to withdraw their sanctioning was procedurally flawed and without due process. That remains a legal issue between the promoters and the board, which we intend to pursue. However, whilst there are legal routes to facilitate the fight taking place as planned, we do not believe that is in the fighters' interest for those who have pursued at such a late stage, or in the wider interest of the sport. As promoters, we take our obligations and duties very seriously, and a full investigation will now need to take place. We will be making no further comment at this time, and news for ticket holder refunds will follow. So just to confirm there, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn is off. Postponed, not cancelled, so it does imply that the fight could take place at a later date. There will be legal proceedings, which have been referenced here by Wasserman Boxing and Matchroom into the British Boxing Board of Control. They do not believe that the British Boxing Board of Control have grounds to withdraw the sanctioning of the event, but the fight is off.
It's not looking good, bruv.
No longer going ahead. It's not looking good, bruv. They are still contesting the British Boxing Board of Control. Your immediate reaction to that statement?
Well, it's not off, it's postponed, and I think that's the key thing. Okay. This legal kind of battle is going to go on. It's obviously clear that Matchroom are not happy with the board and the decision that they made. Why they haven't chosen to proceed like they were quite bullish about yesterday. Various things. I heard earlier today that they were going to go to the High Court this afternoon. That was in the plans, but I think those plans were abandoned later on because they felt that it would take too long to get a decision, and it could end up that it could be late on Friday until they got a decision. So with that in mind, with the effects that would have on the fighters, etc., I think they then decided to pull the plug.
Before I stop you there, Rob, I just have to tell the people right now, it's Ricky Hatton's birthday right now, yeah? We got to give that 44 right now looking beautiful as ever.
Over the news that we've probably just found out, I'm having the shittest birthday ever.
But you still got to do something to salvage it. So how are you going to celebrate today? What are you going to do to enjoy the day?
I don't know. I see what's happening. I mean, I'm actually in training out for my November 12th bout against...
I was just about to say, you're looking lean right now. You're looking very lean.
I think the general consensus is from the people that we've spoken to, Castillo, that the right decision has been made pending a thorough investigation into Conor Benn. He has the right, of course, to have this investigation into finding out what caused the adverse analytical finding. He may be vindicated. We wait to see what happens with that. But from me, Rob Tebbutt from Castillo, the main event.
Big man thing right
Thank you all so much
Thank
for
you lot
hanging
for tuning
around.
in, man. You get me?
We're going to go and
10,000
get some
strong,
food.
better than the ops, bruv. You get me? Best boxing channel you'll ever see, bruv. Big man thing.
Thanks so much. We're going to see you next time. Tune into ID Boxing, like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I was very tempted to slip out the back door for a beer, but wanted to come and see you guys, and thanks for waiting around. Been a very difficult day, 24 hours, 48 hours. We were looking forward to an event that has really captured the imagination of the British public, and a fight that had so much history, myself and Calla and Wasserman Boxing so excited for, but obviously we wanted to come here today and formally announce that Chris Eubank Jr against Conor Benn has been officially postponed. I want to make it clear that Conor Benn is not suspended by the British Boxing Board of Control, and we do feel that he hasn't been given due process like many others in this situation before him. I also want to clear up so many different reports from journalists and outlets that we've seen today about us being in the High Court this afternoon, us considering other commissions. This is just not true. We took our time with Wasserman Boxing and we made a decision that we felt was in the best interests of the parties involved. This is a sport that is very, very dear to us, a sport that we've been around our entire life. And whilst we were desperate for this fight to take place, for the fans, for the undercard fighters, we also made a decision that we felt we had to at this time, especially considering the interest of the sport and the British public as well.
Boxing Board of Control, in my view, were right to go prohibited straight away as soon as it became public. They probably should have done it before, but we'll find out about that as it rolls out. But, oh my God, it would have been a huge stain on boxing and on British boxing if this fight had gone ahead.
It's gone from, like, surprise when we first heard the news a couple of days ago. That's when I first heard it. It's weird how people feel like I might know something beforehand, but I only heard it a couple of days ago. To then disappointment for everyone, you know, Chris, undercard fighters, broadcasters, you, me, people that are travelling in, to like relief that it's been cancelled. Because I felt like I was, even little old me, I felt like I was in a weird position of not wanting to be involved in a fight where someone has failed a drug test and the fight somehow goes ahead through back channels. I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. So, yeah, almost disappointment to relief.
Big man thing, we got to wrap this thing up, yeah, because the security man told us we got to get out, bruv. You get me? We don't want no problems with him.
The only thing that we can do is what we did. Our people who watched us in Saudi will know that we can run upstairs into the hotel room and get set up again.
Big
up
man
there.
thing. Because the security man's moving overly aggy, like he owns the place, bruv. You get me? That £10 an hour, bruv, he's working for it. You get me? It's very serious right now, bruv.
Okay, I think
he's dehydrated right now, bruv.
I think what we're gonna do then is we'll wrap this up and then we'll
set up in a hotel room, bruv. That's what we'll do.
Don't tell anybody.
Big man thing.
Yeah, we'll take down and we'll be back shortly as ID Boxing go through the key moments from this.
They're about
week.
to go mash up the security man, bruv. You get me?
Okay.
That security man's trying to mash up the stream, bruv. He's in the office right now, throwing off the signals and
Sending
that.
the airwaves.
I'm telling you.
The B sample is the same urine split into two different pots. Now, the first sample comes back. A lot of differing information as to when the test was and when it came back. The A sample came back with elements of Clomifene in it. The B sample hasn't been tested yet. They were due to test it afterwards. I did ask Eddie, how long does it take for something like that to happen? Didn't really get much of an answer. So yeah, that's kind of the situation. He hasn't technically had a doping violation because the B sample hasn't been tested yet. Everybody deserves the opportunity to have a full and thorough hearing.
there has to be something that's done around this. There has to be something that's changed within UKAD or VADA regulations whereby if you produce a positive A sample, then there has to be a 48-hour window in which the B sample is tested. It cannot be left to people to kind of delay and delay and delay.
That finding, I thought it was going to be a straight, rescheduling or... also, I've heard rumours that, the test came out weeks ago, and I don't quite understand if that was the case, why no one was alerted and notified up until 3 days before the fight or whatever. 2 days before the weigh. It's extremely frustrating for everyone involved.
Like I said last time, he's a cheating bastard, and there's no place for them in the sport we're in. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because I've seen a lot of people who are very, very vocal about drug cheats was quite quiet on it because maybe it's Conor, because he's maybe Eddie's golden boy a little bit, but at the end of the day, you treat one like you treat them all. He's failed the drug test, which is something that can't be done by accident in a protein drink or in a meat.
That's a fucking joke, and everybody involved is disgusting. That's the lowest of the low. People's lives. People the last person really cared about in boxing is the fighter. People love the entertainment and love the fucking facades and fucking all the money and everything involved. But nobody actually cares about a fighter's health.
So that is all from a very, very action-packed, event-filled Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight week. Of course, not quite the ending to fight week as we expected.
It wasn't looking good, bruv, but we move.
We move, maybe the fight moves in location, certainly in date. Unfortunately, due to an adverse analytical finding for Conor Benn, the fight has been postponed, but we hope that everybody who has watched ID Boxing this week has enjoyed the content from myself, from the main event, Castillo.
Big man thing, stay locked to ID Boxing, bruv. Plenty of content to come, bruv.
See you next time.
Done now.